The Jimmy Z Show.
You might remember about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we talked about JCPenney and that they were putting out these catalogs online that had specific advertising for homosexuals. It wasn't the entire catalog. It was a page where they would show a couple of mothers or a couple of fathers and a little boy. And so they were pushing homosexual parenting. And then, of course, they chose Ellen DeGeneres to be their spokesperson, and that didn't last long. And, of course, they didn't really fire her, but they didn't use her very much. And I remember when Glenn Beck came out and said that he supported Ellen DeGeneres to be the host or to be the spokesperson for JCPenney because a business should be able to choose whoever they want. And then Glenn Beck lashed out at the Million Moms organization that was speaking up for the pro-family view and saying that Ellen DeGeneres should not be used as a spokesperson for a family store. So this is Glenn Beck from 2 years ago. You got to hear this again because people forget or people have never heard or people deny that Glenn Beck does this stuff. Just a couple of weeks ago, Glenn Beck came out supporting GLAAD in something that is going on in Russia. And I didn't really talk about this, but it's sitting in my pile. Some crazy radio host in Russia said that that homosexuals should be burnt in ovens, in so many words. And it's outrageous, and it's stupid, and it's insane. But that's what he said. And so instead of saying, well, simply, that guy is wrong, Glenn Beck came out and supported GLAAD and aligned himself with GLAAD, the gay and lesbian, anti-defamation, whatever they are. Well, GLAAD would be more than happy to shut down any kind of speech, any kind of free speech that identifies homosexuality as sin, as it says in the Bible. And you don't have to believe that. You don't have to believe what the Bible says. I don't care if you believe or not. But GLAAD would be more than happy to shut down pastors and ministers and keep them from being able to teach what the Bible teaches. And Glenn Beck aligned himself with them. Instead of simply saying, well, that guy in Russia is insane, that would be wrong. And I'll say the same thing. That would be absolutely wrong. I am not at all in favor of burning anyone. I do not believe for a moment that any homosexuals should be hurt in any way simply because of the way they choose to live their lives. No, that is absolutely wrong. But see, I'm saying it without aligning myself with GLAAD. Glenn Beck thinks that that makes him more open-minded and more acceptable and more liked by more people if he says that I'm going to stand with GLAAD. Well, here he is a couple of years ago standing with GLAAD and saying that Ellen DeGeneres is a great person and that JCPenney should have her as its spokesperson and that the people in and he doesn't name them, but the people in the Million Moms Christian Family Organization who were speaking out against this were dopes. I forget the words that they use. You're going to hear Glenn Beck and his sidekick really slam the Christian organization. Screw Glenn Beck, okay? I cannot believe that any of you who consider yourselves to be Christian conservatives buy into this crap from Glenn Beck.
There's another one that GLAAD is, I think, rightfully taking on, and that is the Ellen DeGeneres nonsense that's happening with JCPenney's.
Well, yeah, there's some idiot conservative group is trying to get Ellen DeGeneres fired from the JCPenney ads. I guess because she's lesbian.
Can I ask you how that affects you?
Yeah,
how does that affect you?
I don't get that one either.
That doesn't make any sense. So now we're going to ban people. Listen to what that is. Mm-hmm. That's big government fascism on the other side.
No, it's not. Glenn, you moron. It has nothing to do with big government. The Million Moms organization is a group of people speaking their minds, putting pressure on advertisers. That's what America is all about. Big government fascism? Glenn Beck has his head up his ass. This is outrageous. I forgot how stupid this is. And by the way, Ellen DeGeneres is as much a preacher of lesbianism as has ever been on television. She preaches it almost constantly. Glenn Beck acts as if lesbianism is not a part of Ellen DeGeneres' public persona at all. And yet, that's almost everything that she's about. But this sidekick, I forget his name, I think it's Pat. He carries on about the Million Moms organization and calls them idiots.
Yeah, there's some idiot conservative group is trying to get Ellen DeGeneres fired from the JCPenney ads. I guess because she's lesbian.
Can I ask you how that affects you?
Yeah,
how does that affect you?
I don't get that one either.
That doesn't make any sense. So now we're going to ban people. Listen to what that is. Mm-hmm. That's big government fascism on the other side.
Yeah, it is.
If you're saying you're not going to work because of who you sleep with.
No, it's not big government fascism. If I speak out against Ellen DeGeneres, if I speak out by myself or as part of a group of people against JCPenney, and I said advertisers earlier, you're protesting not a bunch of advertisers, you're protesting JCPenney's period. That has nothing to do at all with the government. Those are people speaking their minds. And this guy on the Glenn Beck show calls them an idiot conservative group. Why are conservatives watching Glenn Beck? It makes no sense. And people say, oh, well, you're jealous of Glenn Beck. No, I'm not. If I had to say the kind of things that Glenn Beck says in order to be rich and famous and a big-time radio and TV host, I'm going to stay right where I'm at. Because I'm not going to side with GLAAD. I'm not going to praise Ellen DeGeneres. I'm not going to slam a Christian group like the Million Moms. Before I run out of time, here's the rest of this audio clip.
She's not out saying, hey, come to JCPenney's because you might think lesbian is a great thing. She's not saying that. She's like, hey, kids, come on down, be a lesbian with me. That's not what she's saying.
She is.
Buy a sweater.
Yeah.
What is the problem with that?
Ellen's likable. Buy her sweaters.
Yeah,
that's all that is.
Like Ellen.
I think most people do.
I mean, it's really, really bigoted to now. It's dangerous to now get into the territory of you can't have a job because you're a homosexual.
Yeah, can we stop with all this nonsense?
Can
we stop?
It's dangerous.
Stop worrying about who other people hire.
Okay, so you could listen to Alan Colmes or Rachel Maddow. Is that her name, Rachel? You could listen to Piers Morgan or Ed Schultz or whoever and get the same message that you just got from Glenn Beck and Pat and the idiots at the Glenn Beck show. You want to talk about idiots? Those people are idiots. But here's the reason why I brought all this up, is because JCPenney is going down.
And some business news now, starting with struggling retailer JCPenney. It announced yesterday that it is cutting 2,000 jobs and closing 33 of its stores. That had Wall Street analysts wondering whether Penney's holiday sales were actually worse than first thought. The cuts and closings are Penney's latest effort to return to profitability. Its stocks fell in after-hours trading following the announcement.
And by the way, people who watch this kind of stuff in business are saying that it's virtually impossible for JCPenney to turn this thing around. And in part, this is happening because of the Million Moms and their stupidity in trying to attract homosexual customers. I'm Jimmy Z. We'll be back next time. Until then, from the left coast, bye-bye for now, everybody.
The Jimmy Z Show.